The place, Survivor Series. The time, The Rock's 25th anniversary in the WWE. His entire family is standing inside the ring apart from Roman Reigns. He's indirectly addressing Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns did not show up. And then Roman comes out. They have a promo battle. Roman says that The Rock should just retire. There's no need for the celebration. The Rock hasn't been in WWE for 10 years. The Rock responds by saying, I'd rather not be in WWE for 10 years than be a babyface that gets booed. They have a promo battle and ultimately they have a stare down to end Survivor Series. Now Roman goes without an opponent for TLC and instead ends up cutting a promo in the main segment of TLC. He's addressing The Rock, he's talking about The Rock and how The Rock should just retire, and then The Rock comes out. He doesn't say a word, he just smiles, and Jimmy Uso hits a super kick. Jimmy Uso betrays Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Jey Uso is shocked. Jey Uso is asking Jimmy Uso why he did what he did. Jey Uso is just shocked. Jimmy Uso isn't speaking and The Rock is laughing. TLC ends with Jimmy Uso and The Rock standing high. Now at the Royal Rumble, Jimmy Uso is set to face Roman Reigns in a steel cage match for the Universal title. Now this is a steel cage match that The Rock and Jey Uso cannot interfere. This doesn't stop Jey Uso though. Jimmy Uso is tangled up in the ropes, the steel cage door is open, but a super kick by Jey Uso. Jimmy Uso lays flat as Roman Reigns slowly gets up and leaves the ring, taunting Jimmy Uso. He grabs the Universal title, goes towards one of the cameras and taunts The Rock. We see The Rock backstage looking at Roman Reigns, and this ends the Royal Rumble. Now next up is the Elimination Chamber. Now the original Elimination Chamber match is set to be Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus Edge versus Kevin Owens versus Cesaro versus Jey Uso. The winner of this match is set to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But Finn Balor gets attacked by Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn attacks Finn Balor, injuring him, and Finn Balor can't take part in the match. Now there's an empty spot. Who's gonna fill it? Well, The Rock wants to fill the empty spot in the Elimination Chamber, but Paul Heyman thinks otherwise. Paul Heyman doesn't want The Rock to be in this match. So they announce a number one contenders match, a fatal four-way: The Rock, Baron Corbin, Big E, and Robert Roode. The winner of this match gets to enter himself into the Elimination Chamber. Now the match starts off with Big E showing dominance. Big E is dominating the match, but then The Rock comes. The Rock is a bit rusty inside the ring, but The Rock gets the job done. The Rock pins Robert Roode after the rock bottom to win the match. After the match, Jimmy Uso comes to congratulate The Rock, is raising his hand, but Roman Reigns spears The Rock from behind. Jimmy Uso is left stunned. He's gonna go to attack Roman Reigns, but a chair shot by Jey Uso stops him from doing that. Roman beats up The Rock, puts him through tables, hits a ton of Samoan drops, and taunts The Rock, saying that The Rock will never be the head of the table. He's done for, he should just retire, and that ends Friday Night SmackDown. And now it's time for the Elimination Chamber. It starts off with Edge rolling up Seth Rollins and getting the pinfall. Seth Rollins snaps, attacks Edge, hits a couple of curb stomps, and Jimmy Uso pins Edge, and Edge gets eliminated. This starts Seth Rollins vs Edge for WrestleMania, the SummerSlam rematch. Then we get Kevin Owens and Cesaro getting eliminated by The Rock and Jey Uso respectively, which leaves two men left in the Elimination Chamber, The Rock and Jey Uso. Now they fight for 5 minutes. They hit a couple of Samoan drops, super kicks, drop kicks, and just some good old wrestling. Now Jey Uso has the upper hand here. He's gonna go for a frog splash, but Jimmy Uso comes out. No music, just limps to the ring, and he's convincing Jey Uso not to do this, to join The Rock and Jimmy Uso himself. He's convincing Jey Uso that The Rock is gonna win, he's gonna defeat Roman Reigns and put him away for good. But Jey Uso doesn't listen. He goes for the frog splash, The Rock reverses, rock bottom, people's elbow, pins Jey Uso, and The Rock wins the Elimination Chamber. Roman vs. The Rock is now official. Jey Uso is looking at Jimmy Uso. As the cage raises, The Rock leaves the Elimination Chamber, which leaves Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso inside the ring. Jimmy Uso is willing to forgive Jey Uso for their chair shot on Friday night SmackDown. But Jey Uso doesn't care. He's really angry at Jimmy Uso because Jimmy Uso cost him the match. Jey Uso ends up leaving the ring, but Jimmy Uso pulls him back. Jey Uso then pushes Jimmy Uso, saying, "I don't need your help, I don't want your help, I can make my own decisions." This sets up Jey versus Jimmy for WrestleMania. The stipulation is, if Jey Uso loses, he leaves Roman Reigns, and if Jimmy Uso loses, he joins Roman Reigns. Now the build for WrestleMania is fantastic. The Rock is on SmackDown, Roman Reigns is on SmackDown, Jey and Jimmy Uso are on SmackDown in this feud. This feud is basically for who is the head of the table. It's a family feud between the two. The Rock versus Roman Reigns, not only for the Universal title, but for who is the actual head of the table. The build is great with some great promos, great segments. There's no match at Fastlane because the complete focus is on the build for Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It's a dream match and it's the main event of WrestleMania. WrestleMania is sold out. Rock versus Roman shirts are selling, and now it is time. Before Rock versus Roman though, we get Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. It's an emotional match, and Jimmy Uso is still trying to convince Jey Uso because he knows that there's still some good left in Jey Uso. Jey Uso doesn't listen. His job is to just put away Jimmy Uso, and that's what he's doing. But ultimately, Jimmy Uso picks up the win, and Jey Uso is forced to leave Roman Reigns. What will happen? We get a backstage segment with Roman Reigns telling Jey Uso and asking him basically, "Why did you lose? It makes the bloodline look weak, and now they don't respect me. Now they don't acknowledge me." But now it was time for the main event. Jey Uso wasn't there to help Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns was in trouble, who would help him? Well, the match started. The entire Samoan bloodline was on the stage, looking anxiously to see who will win this match. We get a ton of Samoan drops, a spear through the barricade because it's a Roman match, and a spear through a barricade is always appreciated. A rock bottom through the announcer's table. Ultimately, the referee gets knocked out because that always happens in Roman Reigns matches. And then Jey Uso comes running down to the ring. He hands Roman his tribal lay, and Roman chokes out The Rock. There isn't a referee in the ring though, so The Rock hasn't lost yet. Paul Heyman, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns are calling for a referee. No one's come. Jimmy Uso just looks shocked because Jey Uso didn't stick to his promise. Jey Uso basically betrayed Jimmy Uso. Eventually the referee comes, but The Rock gains consciousness. They wrestle for 5 minutes more, and ultimately The Rock is going to give a spear to Roman Reigns. He's taunting Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns reverses that into a guillotine, and The Rock passes out. There is a moment that The Rock is going to break out through the guillotine, but that doesn't happen. The Rock passes out, and Roman Reigns retains the Universal title, signifying himself as the true head of the table. After this, there are a ton of fireworks. Jimmy Uso telling Jey Uso that he was right and he should have stuck by him. And ultimately, the entire Samoan bloodline comes on the stage to acknowledge Roman Reigns and raise his hand in victory. Eventually, though, they do leave the ring, leaving Roman Reigns and The Rock alone by themselves. The Rock is sitting in disappointment by the turnbuckle. Roman Reigns is looking at The Rock. They're having a small stare down. Roman Reigns then has The Rock get up. The Rock shakes Roman Reigns' hand, puts the tribal lay around his neck, acknowledging him as the true head of the table and the true tribal chief. WrestleMania 38 would end with The Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns as the true head of the table. This would see an end for The Rock's electrifying return to the WWE. He returned to make this dream match true. The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It finally happened at WrestleMania 38.